Good evening, everybody. Good to see so many of you. Hope you're well. Welcome to anyone who's never been to my classes before. Please feel very, very welcome. So you will have seen on the saver screen that this is a prop intensive class. It's going to be a mix of restorative poses with some gentle movement and a couple of yin poses. It's a little bit of a mix. And the first pose we're going to come to is going to use nearly all of our props. So on the screen, I said, don't worry if you don't have these things. If you haven't got yoga bricks, yoga bolster, sorry, my screen's gone a bit funny, then you could just have any kind of cushion, like from your sofa or something like that, something that will elevate you. And I've got 2 yoga bricks here. And if you have these yoga bricks or you have the equivalent, what we're doing is actually trying to tilt them in towards the bolster. Can you see that they're at a little bit of a tilt? So it's raised up quite high. I have got a blanket over my bolster. I've got a blanket folded at the foot of it for my lower back. And I've got a blanket over the top. And if you've got an eye pillow, Carly and other people, that's all great. So if you're not used to restorative yoga, this is going to seem like a massive pamper. The other thing, oh yeah, you can see I'm clutching my hot water bottle up in my attic, feeling very cozy. You might have one. The other thing you might have, and I haven't quite got the wherewithal or my wits about me now, but it's quite nice to have armrests. So you could roll up a blanket to place your arms on. You want your wrists a little bit higher than your elbows if possible. And then all we're going to do is lie back. So you bring your lower back as far up to the end of the bolster as you can, so you're nestled against it. And then you release your spine down. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what this class is about. Anyone who's been coming to my classes this week know that we've been working a lot with the neck and the throat, with the Vishuddha chakra. And we can actually tune in straight away to what's going on with our throat. So if you come to lying down, I'm going to give you a couple of little indications. You definitely don't want your chin pointing up and your throat open. You might even like to take your fingers to the back of your skull and lightly slide your head up the surface beneath you to create a lot of length in the back of the neck. And a sense that the chin is coming in ever so slightly. And there we go. You might have your hot water bottle on your belly, maybe on your chest. That's quite nice. And some of you will have your legs completely extended. Some of you might have another bolster or a rolled up blanket under your knees. And some of you, if you're going to go the whole hog, will have a thinner rolled up ankle under your blanket, under your ankles. There's a roll under the knees, a roll under the ankles. I haven't done that. And I'm going to stop talking so you can settle. If you've got an eye pillow, that would be lovely. And we're going to be here for at least 10 minutes. Sometimes when we use a lot of props, it can feel like quite a palaver, even irritating. But if you have your props and your body aligned correctly, and after a little while you might be you might find yourself sinking into the support. You might find the little muscles in between each rib and up and down the spine, around the shoulders and the shoulder blades. Begin to surrender and soften into the support beneath you. You might become aware of the softness in your ankles, your knees, your hips, your wrists, elbows, shoulders. And then inviting softness into all the tissues of your face, forehead, temples, around the eyes, cheekbones, lips, the roof of your mouth, the root of your tongue, and finally your throat. Allowing yourself to settle completely into whatever you find is arising for you right now. Might be sensation. You might be aware of the body breathing a natural breath. And quite possibly you'll have memories of your day, memories of your week, or thoughts of what comes next this evening or this weekend, swirling around your head, and that is fine. Can you set everything free to be here, just as it is right now? As you continue to soften, as you continue to breathe, I'm going to read you a few words from this book on Yin Yoga by Gabrielle Harris. Deep within our throat lies the fifth energetic center, Vishuddha. Shuddhi means pure, purification, and Vi means an intensifying. So this fifth chakra reflects clarity and pureness. Its energetic job is to guide us
towards authentic self-expression. When in balance, our words are in harmony with our values and actions, and we express kindness, empathy, and connection with our words. This energetic abode is the intersection between our interior life and how we express or project our truth to the outside world. And when it is out of balance, we may not be able to express or communicate our desires and will to others. We may feel like we have no authority over our lives. We may become clingy or needy and seek attention. When the throat center energy is deficient, we may withdraw from the world in shyness or lack of wanting to communicate outwardly. We could become highly critical of ourselves or others. So for the remaining few moments as you lie here and feel and breathe and settle, in view of what I've just read, if it's relevant for you, ask yourself what you really need from this practice. What do you really need to take into your evening or into your weekend? Stay very, very intimate, very, very close to every sensation in your body, to the sensation of air on your skin, the passage of air through your nostrils to the nasal cavities, right down into your throat and further into your body. And then coming to the top of your next inhalation and pausing for a moment. And then opening your mouth and exhaling. Long and complete. Can you take 2 more breaths like that, breathing in. And we'll come out very slowly. To bend up your knees. And all you're going to do is roll very slowly off your props onto the floor, doesn't matter which side. And the arm that's on the floor, just stretch it out beyond your head so you can rest your head on it for a moment. Just lying like this in a recovery position for a while. So we were in a supported back bend, so the spine was in a very delicate extension. So
we're just settling it now. And then be very careful the way you come up. Use your other hand, your top hand, to push into the floor. Keep your chin into your chest as you slowly come up and your head comes last. And we're going to come and sit. And I would recommend, for maximum comfort, that you use your bolster and you straddle it. But you might want to sit cross-legged. It's all good. Make sure you're warm enough. Been looking forward to teaching this class all day since I finished the gentle class this morning, because I really love working on this area of the body. So if you think about the neck and the throat, this whole area that we're working on, there's so much going on here. And those of you who've come to the other classes this week have heard me talk about this. So we have the mouth and everything that's inside the mouth. We have the jaws. We have the neck itself with the vertebrae of the neck, the cervical spine. We have the thyroid gland, which is pivotal for maintaining our whole metabolism in balance. We have our vocal cords, and then obviously we have principal arteries, lymph ducts. So there's a lot going on basically between the brain and the rest of the body, all filtered through this incredible area that we take for granted completely. And what I'd like to do now is honor, but also bathe ourselves in the resonance of sound vibration. So we're activating the vocal cords as a way of really enlivening this whole area. And we'll use Brahmari bee breath to do this. So some of you will know this practice and others won't, and don't worry. I just want to bring your attention to these flaps of cartilage in the ears, and as always, I've forgotten what they're called. There's always someone in the class who remembers, and I can't ask you now. But these flaps of cartilage, you're going to, when it comes to it, you're going to use your thumbs to press those flaps of cartilage into the holes of your ears, so to basically close you out from external sound. And your other fingers can just rest on your head. We'll keep it simple. And all Brahmari breath is a humming on the exhalation, bee breath. And I don't know who's seen Honeyland, film I think made last year about this wild beekeeper from North Macedonia. We saw it last night, and if you haven't seen it, it's absolutely beautiful, stunning film. It's on Amazon. I don't know how else you can see it. Anyway, that's about bees and honey. So I'll demonstrate. If you know what you're doing, come straight into it. Otherwise, I'll demonstrate and then join in. And what we'll do, just in case you can't hear me and you're still humming, is we'll take 6 full rounds and then meet at the end of that, because we're all going to do this at a different rate. So have your thumbs ready on your ear flaps and take a full breath in. I'm demonstrating. Pause at the top of the inhalation, and on the exhalation, close the ear flaps and hum. So that was a trial just to show you. One thing I also want you to be aware of is that you have lovely length in the back of your neck. You're not rocking your head back. If anything, your chin is coming in very slightly towards the sternum. Okay, so we're going to do 6 rounds. When you're ready, breathing in. When you've finished your 6th round, lowering your hands and simply observing. You can open your eyes. So we're going to do this again, but with the same hand motion and the same hum, but with more of an awareness on the softness of your throat, the root of your tongue, and the palate of your mouth. So we're going to create a very soft kind of blossoming cavity in the mouth and throat with this 2nd round of Brahmari. One thing you can do, and this is absolutely optional, is take the tip of your tongue to the point at which your upper teeth and your palate meet. And this creates more of a sense of stability in the cavity of your mouth chamber. So see what that feels like. And we're going to do the same thing 6 times, and then we'll come into some other practice, okay? So when you're ready, taking a full breath in, maybe putting your tongue in that position or not. And again, when you've finished, sitting a few moments to simply observe. The breath, sensations in the body, but also your state of mind, your inner emotional, mental landscape. And then opening your eyes when you're ready. Thank you for joining me in that, if you did. Now I'm going to stay sitting as I am, but if you need to move around a little bit, change your seat, that's absolutely fine. We're going to take a little bit of a seated practice before we come onto our knees. So I'd like you to, again, bring your awareness to your neck. And in fact, take your thumbs to the little indentation at the bottom of your skull where you kind of feel the skull meeting the neck vertebrae. Just very lightly slide your hands up the skull to create a little bit more length in the back of your neck, and your chin will come in a little. So you're not bringing your chin all the way in, you're just creating length in the back of the neck, and then release your hands. And take a full breath in. And then as you breathe out from here, lower your chin in towards your chest. Maybe feel the muscles of your neck and upper back responding. And then breathing in, gently lifting your chin. And opening your throat a little as you take your head back, but not too fast, not too far. Pause at the top of your inhalation and then breathe out, come slowly down again. See if you can really feel into every vertebra of your neck. And take a couple more rounds. We're just bringing awareness to this part of the body. Some of you might be breathing an ujjayi breath, that ocean breath, rasping over a slightly constricted throat. And taking one more full round. Bringing your head back to neutral with the length in the back of the neck. And lift your shoulders up towards your ears, inhale. And as you exhale, drop them. And you can do that with a puff or just a big exhalation. Breathe in, lift. Take 3 more. You can actually feel the weight of your day, or I can feel the weight of my day or the week just evaporating with that simple shrug of the shoulders. Then come into the length of the back of your neck and inhale again. And now as you exhale, begin to look over your left shoulder. Use your eyes. Be curious about how far you can go, but with no strain. And then inhale back to the center. Exhale to the right. Use your eyes. Look all the way over the right shoulder as far as you can. And in your own time, take a couple more rounds. All the while, really soft in the jaws and inside the mouth, particularly the roof of your mouth. Until we meet back in a neutral position. Take a moment to notice how you feel. Actually, let's take 3 more of those shrugs. Breathe in, lift up. Breathe in, lift up. Lovely. And then lifting up your right arm, inhale. As you exhale, take the palm of your hand to the left ear and very lightly draw your head over to the right. But this is where you need to be very delicate. There's no yanking. So you can feel into the sweet spot, feel into where you need to be. So you might like to move around gently. You might like to sink your left shoulder. And you might like to take your eyes up to the left. Breathe here. Soften the jaw and inside the mouth and behind your eyes. One more breath in and a long breath out. And then gently bring your head back to neutral and release your right hand down. When you're ready, breathe in, lift the left arm. Take hold of the right ear and very gently come over to the left. No pulling. Maybe drop your right shoulder and take your eyes up to the right and breathe. Feel the weight of your hand on the ear, side of the head. There's something I find very reassuring about this pose. One more breath in and a long breath out. And then gently coming back to neutral. On your next breath in, lift both arms up above you. And as you breathe out, take a gentle twist to your right. We're not looking for a deep twist. And it may be you're so high up that your right fingers don't reach the floor. You might want to bring them onto your bolster or your cushion. And take a couple of breaths during which you feel the length of the spine and you explore your range for movement. We're not holding this pose. On the next breath in, bringing your arms with you in the direction of your head. And then take the same little twist to the left. Very delicate. Feeling your way. And then coming all the way back, arms over your head. And bring your palms together as you breathe out and draw them down to the heart space. And we're going to do one more thing seated right now, and you might want to stay where you are or shift around a bit. When you're ready, taking your hands around the back of your head, show you sideways. So you could have your thumbs in that little indentation at the back of the skull, the bottom of the skull. And allow your head to really fall into your hands here. And then as you breathe in, drop your head more into your hands. Elbows fall out to the side, your chest opens and lifts, your throat opens. And as you breathe out, slowly bring your elbows in towards each other and your chin in towards your chest. Very lightly, you're not yanking your head off your neck. And we'll do a few rounds. I love doing this for all the tightness at the top of the back and shoulders. Make it lovely and slow and sensitive so you can feel everything. You might be breathing ujjayi. You might feel into your shoulder blades coming together as you inhale and open your chest. You might feel them separating and pushing out a little bit behind you as you breathe out, elbows together. Please take 3 more. Always soft inside the mouth. I'm taking my last round now. And then gently bringing your head to neutral, sliding your hands away, and taking a moment to feel the body. Very mellow class tonight. So it's time to clear away all your props temporarily. We will come back to play with them, but you need your feet probably bare now. I'm going to take my socks off. You need your mat. And please meet me in an all fours position. And again, even in this very familiar pose, in this tabletop or coming towards our cat-cow movement, keep your awareness in the neck and the throat. Can you find that length in the back of the neck? And then as you breathe in, begin to lift your chin to open the throat. Notice how the rest of your spine will respond. And as you breathe out, draw your chin in towards your throat, chest, and lift the back of your ribs up towards the ceiling. Your tailbone will drop down. When you're ready to breathe in, your chin will start lifting. Can you feel your sitting bones separating in response? And as you breathe out, chin comes in and your tailbone tucks under. Really push the earth away through your hands as you exhale. And continue in your own rhythm to really feel the beauty of the articulation of the spine, these very gentle flexions and extensions of the spine. All the while focusing on the throat and the softness in your mouth. And some of you might feel very comfortable continuing in this movement. And some of you at the end of an exhalation might like to draw yourself back to child. And maybe creep your fingertips further forwards and stay here a breath or two. And you can move between coming to your cow pose where you lift your chin, open your throat. Moving to your cat and back to child. Take a few rounds like that. Absolutely fine. Or if you wanted to, at some point, you could curl your toes under and come to a very gentle downward dog. Nothing too extreme. So I'm going to leave you to take several rounds according to what feels the most delicious, what feels just right for you right now. Allow your breath to move you. And you may find at any time you come to a pose that feels really good that you want to stay for a few breaths, and that's absolutely fine. Taking a few more breaths. Until you're ready to meet me in a seated position of your choice. Again, you could be up on a bolster, you could be on a chair if you wanted. And now if you have a belt, that would be really lovely, but you don't necessarily need one. And we're going to come into Gomukasana Arms, cow face arms, to really release and feel into the shoulder area. So if you'd like to lift up your left arm, have your belt over your left shoulder, bend at the elbow and use your right hand to put a bit of pressure on the elbow so that your fingers creep down in between your shoulder blades. And you're looking to keep your arm as far behind the ear as possible, but without sticking your chest and your ribs out, soften them in. And this may be where you want to stay, and that's absolutely fine. Or maybe you take your right arm out, turn the thumb down so the palm's facing away, and reach your hand in between your shoulder blades, maybe to hold on to the belt or to hold on to your fingers, whatever's right for you. And we'll stay for about a minute. Soft in the mouth. And this gentle easing of the elbows in opposite directions. And you can move your head and neck out of the way if they're obstructing. But try and keep that nice length at the back of the neck. Breathe. So funny, this pose. I've been doing it in some of the classes this week, and some days I like come into clasping the hands instantly, and other days I'm just nowhere near. It's really bizarre. Probably has to do with how much you're working at the computer. Take a full breath in. Pause at the top and exhale with your mouth open. Can you take 2 more? And then release. If you need to circle in the wrists, roll your shoulders, please do. And we'll bring our Gomukasana to the other side. Belt over the right shoulder if you're using one. And lift the right arm up. Bend the elbow, left hand to the elbow. And feel your way. Try not to flare out the ribs. And you're absolutely fine to stay here. Or take your left arm out. Thumb comes down. And then bring your hands either to hold onto the belt or to hold onto each other. Lengthen the back of the neck and ease your elbows in opposite directions. Soften the face. Stay close. Breathe. It's not an easy pose, but the effects of this pose are usually a really delicious release of tension in the upper body. Take 3 breaths, exhaling with an open mouth. Remember, we're working with release, clarity and purification of expression. Maybe roll your shoulders, maybe circling the wrists. Put your belt to one side. If you need to change position, please do. We're going to do one more seated pose. Garudasana arms, eagle arms. So breathing in, open out wide. Feel out to your fingertips. And as you breathe out, give yourself a hug, right arm over the left, and draw your chin right in. And take a couple of breaths, feeling how lovely it is to give yourself a hug. And then let's open out wide again. Inhale. And exhale, left arm over the right. Give yourself a hug. Well deserved. Stay here a couple of moments. Why does this feel so lovely? I can't assume it is for everybody. Breathe in, open out wide. And this time breathe out, right arm over the left. Maybe just bend up the left elbow and use it to draw the right arm across the body, trying to keep the right arm parallel with the floor, or wrap your forearms and hands around each other. I'm holding onto my right thumb with my left hand. And then you can roll your shoulders up to the ears and slide them down again. And then lift your elbows and hands up away from the body. We'll just stay a minute or so. Keep dropping the shoulder blades down the spine. Keep softening in the face. And breathe. If you're in eagle arms and your hands are entwined, and that's all quite easy for you, see what it feels like to crank your right thumb clockwise, excuse me. So you're turning the hand clockwise a little, and it's like tightening a screw. I don't know if you can feel that. And it gives you a little bit more sensation in between the shoulder blades. Take a few more breaths here. Keep softening in the jaw and the roof of your mouth. One more full breath in. And this time simply release on the exhale and take a moment to feel the aftermath, the residue. And then breathing in, open out wide. And then wrap the left arm over the right. Either use the right elbow to draw the left arm across the body. Still get a lovely feeling across the upper arm and shoulder. Or wrap your arms around, maybe hold on to the left thumb. Then you can hitch your shoulders up, roll them back down again. Lift your elbows and hands up and away. Long in the back of the neck. Maybe cranking that left hand anti-clockwise to tighten the screw just a notch. And breathe. Stay very, very close. Breathe. And take a full breath in and release. And do whatever you need to do. Maybe simply sit still and feel the residue. I'm going to put my socks back on. I don't know if you need to. We're going to meet lying on our bellies, please. Lying on your bellies with your elbows underneath your shoulders in a Sphinx pose. I'll show you what I mean in case you're not familiar with this pose. If you come into this pose with your elbows under your shoulders and you get a twinging in your lower back, and some of you might, take your elbows out and come down a notch. And let's come back in this very simple back bend to a sense of what's going on in the neck and the throat. So we'll do a little bit of movement like we did when we were sitting, but then we'll come to stillness. So as you breathe in, gently lift your chin. And as you breathe out, gently bring your chin into your chest. And now that's all I want you to do for a few rounds. What we're actually doing here is very subtly massaging the thyroid gland as you draw your chin into your chest. And there are lots of other ways to accentuate that, of course. And then at some stage, just lifting your head enough so you're probably looking past your mat to the floor. And there's a sense that the back of your neck is nice and long. You're not arching it, or you're not flexing it or extending it. It's just straight. And your chin is in a little bit. You could even take your jawbones back slightly and find that lovely softness in the cavity of your mouth. And then soften into the shoulders. Take a few breaths here. Can you soften all the tissues of your face? And there will be some of you out there who want more stimulation, in which case lift your forearms onto a bolster or onto bricks, or even come into a Sphinx if you like, arms straight, but don't need to do any of those things. This is already just beautiful in Sphinx. Great all-round pose for the health of the spine. Breathe. We'll stay a couple more minutes here. Please don't tolerate any pain in your lower back. Something you can do to accentuate sensation in another way is to draw your forelegs up, heels towards your buttocks, and see how that definitely revs up sensation in the lower back. Only do that if that's right for you. Stay very close to the breath, only here for probably about 30 seconds more. Take a full breath in. And then as you breathe out, bring yourself all the way down and settle your forehead on your hands. And breathe fully into your belly and puff it up against the mat to create space in the lower back, and then breathe out. Now from here, I'm going to roll onto your back, but you need your belt or the equivalent handy. If you don't have a belt at all, and or you don't like what I'm about to do, I'm just going to show you the variation now. You're going to come into very soft draping forward fold sitting. You could sit up on something, your knees could be bent. I'm just going to drape forwards. And that's absolutely fine. I'll give you some of the same benefits of the pose we're about to do. So this is a pose we did this morning for those of you who are in the gentle yoga class. It's quite a lot of fun. You're going to make a loop with your belt. It needs to be as long as possible. And the part of the belt that does not include the buckle, you're going to take behind your head, pretty much in line with that little right at the base of the skull. Then you're going to bend your knees in towards you and take the other end of the belt over your feet. And I like to bring it just before the heels rather than towards the toes. And then begin to straighten your legs. And the idea here is that by straightening the legs, you come into this relationship, this push-pull relationship, where you're held absolutely perfectly here with no strain. You release your arms down. And if you have come into this, I wonder if you begin to notice how it's just a beautiful passive way of giving love to our necks and the muscles that connect the neck to the upper back and further down the spine. Just going to check the time. Okay, we'll stay a couple of minutes here. And I know from doing this in the river room with people, it can take a moment to actually trust the physics of this. But once you can, let go in the shoulders. Feel a gentle opening in the back of the legs. And again, we are giving a little bit of pressure, a little bit of massage to our thyroid gland without being extreme. How soft can you become again in the roof of your mouth, the root of your tongue, and in your throat? Breathe. And soften. Really soften in the palms of your hands and in your wrists. Okay, so we're going to come out very, very gently. You can hold the belt as you draw your knees in towards you, taking your head back to the floor and releasing the belt, and bring your feet to the floor. Might like to lie like this for a couple of breaths, or slide your feet away and feel the whole body. Feel the support coming up to meet you of the floor beneath you. Notice the quality of your breath now. And then when you're ready, gently spiraling yourself up. Now is the time to have as many folded blankets as possible, very neatly folded. What I'd like to suggest, and I'm not assuming everybody's got all of these props, but I'm going to imagine we're in the river room and you do, is that you have one blanket that you're going to take your lower back onto, but then you have 3 or 4 blankets. So they're oblong folded, and these 3 or 4 blankets you're going to put horizontally at the head of the one blanket. So it's an elevation, but it's not extreme. You might want to add a little bit more. I'll show you what we're going to do, and then you decide if you want more. So you're going to allow your lower back to settle onto the single blanket, and your upper and mid back to come onto the elevation. But then your neck is released and your head comes back. And this is all we're going to do. You could take your arms over your head. So it's actually a very, very subtle version of a supported back bend. We're opening out the throat. You've got a very gentle back bend. And if this just doesn't feel enough for you, you could do this over a bolster. You could add more blankets. And we will stay for between 5 and 10 minutes. We'll see how we get on. The point of this is that your shoulders are on the blanket. Actually, they're not. I'm sorry. I actually gave you some wrong instructions there. Your shoulders and neck and throat are off the blanket. So the edge of the blanket is more cutting across the middle of your ribs, around the shoulder blade area. And then you release the shoulders and the head back. That's much better. And it's quite subtle if you're in the pose that I'm in. And you can, like I've said, you can elevate more underneath your chest if you want to. And then allow the shoulders to drop, the neck to soften. And this would be a really lovely pose with an eye pillow. Totally forgot my hot water bottle all the time. Neglected the poor hot water bottle. So maybe what you begin to experience here as you settle into this supported back bend is a subtle and quite passive opening of the chest, but a really lovely release for the shoulders and an opening in the neck and throat. And if you're somebody for whom it's not a good idea to have your eyes beneath your heart, the version I'm doing now is probably just about okay. You might not want to come a lot higher. I think there's only one of you who's in that position that I know of. And breathe. There's a little meditation that comes from the book Yoga of the Subtle Body by T.S. Little that I've been just touching on in some of the classes this week. And we can do it now, not as a full-blown meditation, but just as an awareness exercise. If you bring your attention to the cavity of your mouth and the throat, and begin to visualize and maybe even feel the stem of a tulip. So a lovely silky pale green stem, which is sliding from your throat down the neck into your lungs. So it's taking root. Your lungs are hydrating the stem, filling it with nourishment. And then when you come into the softness of your throat, can you begin to visualize and feel an unfurling of the petals of a tulip, maybe a light lilac colour. And they're so silky, so soft. You can feel them smooth and soft, blossoming in the back of your throat, over the softness of your tongue, and out and around and over the softness of the palate of your mouth, your upper palate. So the whole of your mouth becomes a tulip blossom, connected to your lungs through this very silky green stem. Keep softening in the throat and the mouth, and keep breathing a subtle breath. And some of you may feel the tulip expanding through the rest of the tissues of your face. So you feel a blossoming behind your eyes with such delicacy, such softness. Just a few more breaths here. Very deeply restful, restorative pose. Should be very rejuvenating. Very refreshing. Coming to the top of a breath in. Pausing and exhaling, mouth open. And taking 2 more. Taking 1 more. And all you're going to do is roll off gently to one side. Coming right off the blankets, the props, and again resting your head in your arm. Allowing the body to settle for a few moments. Wonderful. And then gently bringing yourself up. And if you could grab a chair. If you haven't got a chair, you could also use the wall. We'll come into a restorative version of a shoulder stand. You can use the blankets again for your lower back. This might be quite nice. You might want a blanket over your chair. My chair is absolutely useless actually for what I'm about to do, but hopefully you've got a better chair than me. And you're going to take your lower legs up onto the chair. So you don't want too much height underneath your lower back because we don't really want to make this into a big back bend. So in fact, I'm going to take a blanket or 2 away. It's just really nice to have a little bit of padding under the lower back. And then what you want is for your thigh bones to be vertical. So if you've got much longer legs than me and your forelegs are quite high up, take a few blankets or a cushion there to make sure you have that right angle between your thighs, your knees and your forelegs. And then grab everything you need. This is the last pose before we come to lying flat. Grab everything you need to be warm enough, maybe an eye pillow. And your arms could come over your head or down by your sides. And this is the simplest version of shoulder stand you can do. Viparita Karani, the great rejuvenator. Can you feel the weight of the back of your pelvis, of your sacrum? And the weight of your legs, but supported by the chair. Or possibly right up a wall, that's fine as well. Keep dropping in this pose, keep dropping into the earth. And a really beautiful way to do that would be to extend the exhalation. Follow the exhalation longer than the inhalation and Watch it fade and dissolve away. And if adding a count helps you, you could be counting in for 3 or 4. Pausing and counting out for 6 or 8 or 9, or even longer if you like, a really long exhalation. But don't push anything. Keep dropping. Allow the earth to receive you. Keep releasing in the jaws, the roof of the mouth, the root of your tongue. Keep softening. Keep letting go. And you have a choice for the remaining 5 minutes of this practice. You could stay exactly where you are. You could bring yourself off the chair and lie completely flat. Make sure you're warm enough in a shavasana. Or you might like to come to seated in a meditation seat to finish. So I'll leave you to decide. The only invitation here is to remain alert to sensation, remain alert to what's present for you at the same time as allowing yourself to let go fully. And if you did have an intention for your practice, if you chose a sankalpa, you might want to invite it into the foreground now. And you're welcome to stay exactly where you are for as long as you like. If you would like to come out, beginning to deepen your breath a little, so that you feel the rise and fall of your abdomen with the breath. And you can begin to introduce any delicate movements of your choice, maybe a roll in the shoulders, maybe a gentle move from the head from side to side. Maybe circling in the wrists a little in one direction and then the other, your ankles, your toes. Maybe have a little stretch, whatever is right for you. A little hug. And if you're lying down, rolling over to one side. And we'll meet together in a seated position. Eyes closed, hands together in front of the heart space. Noticing how you feel. You can rub the palms of your hands together quite vigorously to create heat, friction. And then placing that heat and friction over your eyes, breathing it in behind the eyes into the brain. And fluttering your eyes open and closed a few times into the darkness of your palms. And floating your fingers down your face, allowing the light to come in through the gaps. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me this evening.